Hi. I care about my story, but it's sort of long. I've been trying to shorten it. I love every detail. Um, I moved to Charleston in the late 1970s, and I found the best place to live. I think Church Street in Charleston, we had one too, was the best street in the historic district and the most interesting street you could ever live on. And it was in the neighborhood called SOB, or South of Broad. The people who were living in South of Broad took it very well, that we were sort of making fun of the people who could afford to live where we couldn't, you know. But somehow I was able to afford this apartment, which was the first floor of a house built in 1808, I believe. And I had the whole first floor with a great big living room and big bedroom and wonderful high windows and ceilings. And I was in love. That's the best place I ever lived. I was on Church Street, and there are many other things on Church Street. One of those things is the Dock Street Theater, one of the oldest working theaters in America. It's 135. I was at 55. So I walked down to the Dock Street Theater one day. I was so excited, and I auditioned for a play, a British play, and I got a part. I wanted to do this in Cockney, but I just can't do it. I got a part as a Cockney prostitute. At least I tried. And Thomas Gibson, who was on Criminal Minds, and Darman Gregg, he was in the 8th grade. He was my prop boy. Everywhere I went, he followed me around, and it was so much fun. And I fell in love with the theater. I slept theater, I breathed theater. Rehearsals, performances were everything that I wanted at that time, you know. And it was going great. I had a part, a professional theater. This was the same theater where Edgar Allan Poe's mother had walked the stage. That's how old it was. It was pretty magnificent and had lots of ghost stories, but I'm not going to tell one of them. Well, back at Church Street, I started having some problems. I couldn't sleep at night. I was hearing footsteps. Every night, I'd hear on those wooden floors these creaky footsteps. I told my brother, I said, there are footsteps in my apartment. It's in the room with me, in my big bedroom on that first floor. He said, those are rats in the wall, or those are people upstairs. You're not hearing footsteps in your apartment. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I would pull the cover up at night to my chin, and I would just not go to sleep until I fell asleep with exhaustion, pure exhaustion. I heard some people tell me what I could do about ghosts, but I went to the Dock Street Theater, which was such an old institution, and I asked the oldest person there, who was the kind of like the caretaker, and I asked him if there was anything going on at 55 Church. He said, no, but do you know about 59 Church? And after that, he started telling me about Dr. Joseph Ladd. Well, Dr. Joseph Ladd was a doctor in Rhode Island after the Revolutionary War, nothing like time travel. And he wanted to build a great career so he could marry his love, Amanda. He moved to Charleston after the Revolutionary War with the help of the General Nathaniel Greene. Got him a place to stay with some ladies in a boarding house, 59 Church Street, right across the garden from me at 55 Church Street in different centuries. Dr. Ladd delighted the little ladies that he boarded with, the Rose sisters, by telling them, reading them poems, reading them letters that he wrote to his great love, Amanda. They thought he was the most charming man in the world. But the interesting thing is, so did everybody else. Everybody loved Dr. Ladd. Some mornings he gave just to serving the poor because he was just a generous man, but his great love was for the arts. And everywhere he went, he was popular, except with one man, a man named Isaacs. Dr. Ladd was the kind of man who couldn't betray you. You know, even though he knew this guy was a bad guy, he kept hanging out with him. And one night, they were at the Dock Street Theater, and they were seeing Richard III. There was a young actress that Dr. Ladd said was just wonderful. She was promising. She had so much to offer. He's not a doctor, excuse me. Isaac said, she's terrible. I don't think she has anything to offer. She's an amateur. So this started a feud that should have ended that night, but no, it went on for months. Isaacs wrote a letter to the Charleston Post and said that Dr. Ladd was not the man that people thought he was and that he needed to be uncovered. He also wrote a letter, he threatened to write a letter to Amanda and say that Dr. Ladd was interested in a young actress at the Dock Street Theater and not so interested in her. He didn't do that. But all of Ladd's friends said, the way we deal with this in Charleston is to have a duel. Ladd's laughing. He said, I'm a farmer's son, you know. I don't want to fight anybody. But eventually it came to that point where he was challenged and he was walking down to a place right off Church Street. Everything happened on Church Street. Dueler's Alley. In Dueler's Alley, much blood had been shed in the past. And when Dr. Ladd walked there, the two ladies went with him, the Rose sisters. And his friends went with him too. And when the duel started, Dr. Ladd shot way to the left to miss Isaacs. Isaacs shot at Dr. Ladd's knees and made him fall to the ground. The kindest man. Then Ladd's friends carried him back to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later from gangrene and infection. Well, from that time on, he was still present. In that house, his footsteps were heard many times. At Dueler's Alley, he was seen many times. To this day, the Charleston Historic Society has a sign in front of one ghost in the whole city of Charleston, one ghost house, and that's the house of Dr. Ladd. And I'm convinced that it was Dr. Ladd who visited me those nights. I knew things that would have made him go away, but I didn't know what to do. He was a kind man. Maybe even saw me in that play. Maybe thought I was good. Maybe he thought I was a fine actress, and he just wanted to know me, or maybe he just wanted to share the love of the theater, or he just didn't want to be lonely. But I didn't know whether to send him away now that I knew his story. What would you have done?